Hello, in today's video, we're back with this Honda Odyssey, and today we're going to be fixing this nasty creaking noise coming from the rear every time that we go to press the brake pedal while the van is running. And being that it does it while it's parked, it eliminates any possibility of it being suspension related. So we're going to focus our attention solely on our rear brakes. And the more I listen to it, the more it sounds like something straight out of a horror movie. And yet the closer that we get to the drum on the rear wheel, the louder that it gets, pretty much confirming that that's where our sound is coming from. Well, without further ado, let's get right to it, starting with lifting the rear, then we support it with jack stands, and with our wheels removed, it's time to remove the brake drum, pulling it off if you can, if not, use an 8mm by 1.25 bolt to push the drum away from the hub. With our brake drum off, the first thing we want to do is clean our rear brakes using a brake cleaner spray, and definitely something below to catch all of the gunk, which I'm going to be using puppy pads to do so. They work great to absorb it all. And definitely don't want to forget the dust mask, spraying everything down so they're free of all that brake dust. Just look at how much better it looks now. Now to partially remove the brake shoes one by one, trying to avoid completely taking apart the whole thing, being that I'm trying to get to the contact points behind both of the brake shoes. Because I suspect they're rubbing against the backing plate, and that's what's causing that creaky noise. But I am hoping that doing it this way makes it less work, but I guess I'll see. But let's get started. Using some pliers we can pull up on this adjuster spring so it disengages from the adjuster bracket. And we can just let that spring hang there for now, followed by sliding out this adjuster bracket. Next we'll have to pull off this upper return spring, grabbing it back here with some pliers, then we can pull it back and away so it unhooks. Also unhooking it off of this other brake shoe, removing the spring entirely. Now for this retainer spring, I find what works best is to use some needle nose pliers to press the spring inward and slide it down and off of the hold down pin. Because these regular pliers can be too bulky, but they do work as well. And now we can bring the brake shoe down while it's still attached to the lower return spring, removing the hold down pin from the back as well. I'll just let the brake shoe hang there for now. At this point I'll use some gray Scotch-Brite to remove any gunk off of the backing plate where the brake shoe contacts the plate. There will be 3 on this side, and we'll want to clean all 3 of them the best you can. You'll also want to clean the slot here on the bottom where the brake shoe sits. Once they're clean, we'll use some anti-seize to lubricate all these contact points. Once we're done with that, we can reassemble this brake shoe, sliding it into this lower slot first, followed by lining it up to the wheel cylinder pin. Reinstalling the hold down pin from the back. Now the retaining spring. Compressing the spring till the hold down pin slides into the slot. We're still going to remove the other brake shoe, so this adjuster can be left like this or put back into position like I'm doing. Now to remove this other brake shoe, we'll remove its retaining spring, so once again we can slide out the brake shoe. Letting it hang by the spring while we clean the contact points on the backing plate. For this adjuster, when you're finally reassembling it, you'll want to make sure that this notch is lined up to this slot like so. We'll now clean these other contact points using the Scotch-Brite piece, and this lower slot as well. Followed by lubricating these contact points with the anti-seize. Reinstall the brake shoe, placing it into this lower slot, aligning it up to the wheel cylinder pin as well. Reinstall the hold down pin, and now the retaining spring. To reinstall the adjuster, just push out on both brake shoes, sliding in one end first, then the other. Now compress both brake shoes, making sure that the wheel cylinder pins line up as well. With the brake shoes in position, let's get this upper return spring into the front brake shoe slot. Now pull the rear part of this spring till it hooks into this slot. Followed by this adjuster bracket, angling it back in. And finally reinstall this adjuster spring. Making sure that the whole assembly went in properly, and it should look like this. For any remaining steps you may need on the full brake shoe replacement, I have this Honda Civic video that you can combine with this one for a step-by-step. And I'll link that up at the top or at the end of this video. Let's now reinstall the brake drum, making sure that it's still a slight drag and not too tight. And all we got left now is to make sure that the hard sound went away. And it sounds like it definitely went away, completing this repair. Well, I hope you were able to find this video helpful or informative. If so, please click that thumbs up button to support my video and my channel. And please subscribe if you haven't done so.